First up, Brian Flores of the Miami Dolphins. Yesterday, Tua took 6 sacks and had a mere, let me get this number correct, he had a mere 83 yards passing on 11 of 20 throwing. With 11 minutes left, he took him out and put Ryan Fitzpatrick back in. Fitz moved them right down the field through an interception in the end zone, came close to completing the comeback that Flores was hoping for, but instead it was a loss, and now the conversation afterwards about why'd you do it and what are you going to do with Tua. This is what Flores had to say after the game.
No, Tua wasn't injured. We just felt like it was the best move at that point in the game. We had to get in a 2-minute mode, and we just felt like he gave us the best chance to win the game.
Do you leave this game needing to make any wholesale changes at the quarterback position? Is Fitz going to be in line to be a starter, or
no changes?
Now, here's the deal. I can't go that this guy is, going to be the greatest coach on the Belichick family tree, as I hot-taked weeks ago, but I do believe that he has been terrific, and he's got his finger on the pulse of everything. And I can't go from there to, boy, he's clueless. But a decision like this is rife with problems. It's rife with problems if the locker room is split, if the locker room doesn't want to be split and wants him to just choose one, and that's the problem. I don't think the problem is going to be Tua. I mean, Tua doesn't strike me as having a thin skin and a fragile ego. You can after being, a quarterback for Nick Saban, I believe. That's one thing.
Yeah.
And then I'm just hopeful this isn't one of those defensive coach doesn't really care about how an offense really works. I don't think it's one of those. We've seen that before. I don't think he's one of those guys. But it's a defensive coach mentality that I know for a fact a lot of players in this league do appreciate. Because I worked with Marshall Faulk and also with Warren Sapp. I work with Michael Irvin. I work with a ton of players who would say, how come the quarterback position isn't treated like a defensive back that can't make a play or a wide receiver that has the drops? It's not your day. You're out. You're still the guy, but we're putting the other guy in. Let's see how it plays out. I don't think, again, that Tua's going to crumble from it. But how many times can you go to this well? Do you toggle back and forth? Good news for the Dolphins and Brian Flores is the next game's against the Jets. So everybody gets good. It literally is the panacea. So I think Tua's going to go and have a good game against the Jets, and this won't be a conversation. We'll see what happens down the line. Keep an eye on it is basically what I'm saying. I'm not going to sit here and say terrible move or
right.
I understand it. I understand it if he's got full grasp of the locker room. We'll see what happens. Now then, here was Doug Peterson after another dreadful day by Carson Wentz, where he's missing throws or he's holding on to the ball too long. It definitely isn't working up front. The offensive line is a lot to blame to it and as well. I mean, the run game has just disappeared sometimes. But Wentz is way off. And he was asked again, what about Jalen Hurts? This was his response.
If you get to that spot, whether you don't start him or you bench, I think you're sending a wrong message to your football team that the season's over, and that's a bad message. And we have to work through this. Times, when times get tough, it's sometimes that might be the easy thing to do. This business is about work. This business is about detailing, having ownership, things I talk about with the team, and that's what we got to do. That's coaches and players. That's not one guy. It's bigger. This sport's bigger than one guy, and we all have a hand in it, and we all have to fix it.
Okay, Mike Del Tufo, can you hit the what were they really thinking?
What were they really thinking?
All right, this is what Doug Peterson was really thinking but couldn't say. Hey, folks, do you know that Wentz is on the cap for $18 million this year, even though he's got a base salary of $1 million, and that skyrockets next year? Do you know that his cap number for 2021 is $34.6 million? Do you know his cap number in 2022 is a little bit less than that at $31 million, but at 2023 it's $36 million? Do you know he's got $107 guaranteed dollars coming his way right now? Are you aware of all that? Are you aware that the first time we could kind of get out of all this without it totally destroying our cap is June 1 of before the 2022 season? Are you aware of that? They're in it on Wentz, people. It's all about dollars and cents in my mind. And in order to make it work, they're all in on Carson Wentz. I don't know the last time we saw somebody get signed to a long-term deal this size. We've rarely seen anybody sign a deal this size. This is basically going to be the baseline of the worst possible scenario of signing a guy long-term, and he just loses it, and the rest of the team around him loses it, and the coach will not make a move because it's got to work. And you know who I feel for? I feel for Jalen Hurts. To come out here and hear a coach say that going to you would be a signal to the rest of the team that it's over in a division that you lead at 3-6-1. To hear a coach say it's about work and ownership of the moment and details, you're Jalen Hurts raising your hand saying, I could do that. I work hard. I'm detail-oriented. I can own situations even when it doesn't benefit me. I feel for him, man. He had a coach in college who benched him as the starter when he had done everything for the franchise, kind of like Wentz. Benched him in the biggest game, period, for the new kid because he's won championships there before, the coach, and his positioning is solid. I'm going to go with the other kid, even though a lot of people are going to be wondering what's the matter with me as the player and what's the matter with the coach and the situation. It worked against him. Now he's the Tua here, raising his hand saying, what about me? And he's got a coach who drafts him in the second round after everything he's been through in Alabama and then goes to Oklahoma and does what he does there. He gets drafted in the second round, and his coach the first year is like, got to stick with the other kid. I'm not going with the new guy because that would be an indication that the rest of the team will take as being done. Now, I'll give Peterson obviously the same benefit of doubt I'm giving Brian Flores. Maybe he knows his locker room. Maybe he knows that what Hurts is showing in the meeting room and in the practice snaps that he does get, he is not showing the ability to get started right now, and he knows he would be a sitting duck behind this offensive line, even if with his ability to run, like Wentz has as well. He might know his team better than all of us, but I just feel for Hurts to hear, yeah, if we go to you, I'm telling the rest of the team, we're done. And you've been in a situation where you've been the vet who has got all that time in at your program, and you get benched for the new kid, and now he's got a shot in the pros, and he can't be the new kid in this situation because the vet won't be benched. Man, I feel for him. I feel for him. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.